Here we are in New York City. Behind us, basketball is happening, as in so many places. A little proclaimer at the beginning. These are kind of personal viewpoints and impressions of New York so far, and I thought I'd do this little video because there's been a lot of things and impressions that I had no idea what New York was about. Starting, for example, with the public transport system. I knew that it had a great subway system and stuff, but what I didn't know or wasn't aware of is that just how much time you spend on the public transport system. So that means, 1, 2, 3 hours commuting every day. And another interesting thing is that New York, as one city, as a mega city of about 9 million now, it has the public transport delays combined of 4 major cities. Let's say you take Paris, London, Sydney, and what else can we take? Berlin. Together, the delays for those 4 cities will end up combining the delays of just this one city. So that's been a really interesting experience, to be stuck in this loop of continuous non-showing up of the trains. So that's point number 1, just how fascinating it is to experience how people transport, because obviously that's a vital part of the city. The second part is cars. We all know cars in the city is not a thing, but I think in New York it's even more so an obliterating fact that you don't really want to get into a car unless you have to, and you don't really want to park a car unless you have to, because day rates up here is just crazy. So you want to kind of swerve around. A car is, I think, mostly for big shoppings, going to the building market, getting supplies, or leaving the city. Otherwise, I don't really see the transport benefit of it so much here. Point number 3, what would it be? I mean, the living situation here is interesting because obviously there's a lot of people. There seems to be a lack of, or abundance of, therefore, of apartment situations. So prices are high, spaces are cramped and small. I mean, everyone is aware of that in New York, but it's been really interesting to experience that. But people get really creative with their spaces at one point, and also creative people, or people in general, take out on the streets a lot. So a lot more music and art is happening outside rather than inside so much, where people don't have the space to create their workshops or even just fix their car. I mean, just random little pop-up shops of mechanics fixing their cars on the street. That's been really interesting, just how outside it is, this whole lifestyle here, even though it is a northern hemisphere city which gets cold in winter, where usually it's a bit of a nesting environment. But that lavishly outwardness is, I think, also very much the spirit of New York, is that external, that big attitude that just sweeps you along. Point number 4 that's been really interesting is we've been eating and living pretty much every day. Our dinner is at Whole Foods, which has been pretty alright in terms of food, but it's been really fascinating just to experience American cooking, because obviously America is kind of an old colony of England, and we all know that England is not really up there in the cooking quality. And then what happened is that the colony itself was just establishing itself. Then it led a lot of years on its shoulders of slavery, which means the cooking was externalized too, or outsourced, you could say, so that the white American recipes are really lacking spices, creativity, or goodness. And I think that's why there is that loss of awareness of cultural identity connected to food, like we can see it as well in Australia is a good example. And Australia is very much copying that, where there's not such good old traditional kitchen that people rely on or heal themselves with. So very much so, I think, at the base of the problem of obesity, heart disease and such, where Australia and the United States are very much leading up there. That's been really fascinating, interesting. So far, I'm loving it. It's really nice to touch all those points, but there's just a couple of things that came up. I just thought I'd share that with you on a little exploration.